I made a return trip to a great comic book shop in Charlottesville, Virginia, because they had advertised on their Facebook page that they had some mega grails from the 1970s. Was I able to get there in time to pick them up? Stay tuned to find out. Welcome back, comic book fans. This is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and today I've got a short comic book haul from a great comic book shop down in Charlottesville, Virginia, named Telegraph Art and Comics. Now, they've got two locations down there, and this is the Uptown location that's on 29 North, just north of Charlottesville. It technically may still be in the city limits, but this is a shop that I spotlighted several episodes ago, and I will, at the end of the video, I will put a link to that video so you can check out my original trip to this store. But why did I go back a second time? It is a little out of the way when I make my trips down to West Virginia. But I went back this time because they had advertised on their Facebook page that they had some mega grails from the 70s that I'm interested in. You've watched my last episode where I went to a Comic-Con and I almost pulled that trigger on that issue of Spider-Man 129. Well, as you can see from the graphic, where's the graphic? Graphic's right here. From their Facebook page, you can see the keys that they had, the grails that they had to come into their shop. And I'm not sure if you can see the prices on there, but oh my God, the prices were fantastic. And the only problem was, by the time I saw it and I was going to be making my trip down to West Virginia, it was several weeks old at that point. So I was hoping that something still remained of any of those books, because any of those books would have been really good to pick up. Of course, you've got Spider-Man 129, you've got Hulk 181, Giant Size X-Men #1, and to top it off, you had X-Men 94 and Luke Cage Hero for Hire #1. Now, I wasn't sure if anything was going to be there, but it was worth a shot because this is a great little store. Going through the bins, and as you will see from my last video, you go through their bins and they had hidden gems all over the place. And their books ranged from Golden Age to modern. And it was right side by side, and it was very well organized, and they definitely had some wall books. And I figured, well, if none of those keys are there when I get there, I'll still have a good time and I will still be able to find something. If it's small, it's okay. If it's medium sized, it's okay. If it's one of those grails, fantastic. But if I didn't find anything, it would never have been a wasted trip, because I was going to stop at Cane's Chicken Fingers on the way home and then get a little Dairy Queen before heading out to Charlottesville. So it was all going to be good no matter what. So the question is, was I in time for these grails? Well, the answer is, yeah, I was real late on these grails. They had already gone in the few weeks after this post had went up, and there wasn't much left in the terms of these bigger grails that they had. All the ones that you saw in that graphic right there, yeah, they were all gone. But they had other things there, and they advertised they have weekly specials on Fridays and good books. I think they picked up some first Deadpool and New Mutants. That was an issue that was there that they advertised since then. There were some other little things, but nothing on the scale of those 70s grails. And I went there. My wife was on the trip with me, and we went in, and I showed her around the store a little bit. Now, I didn't film in the store this time because I did that the last time, but I took a look at the books that they had on the wall, and honestly, nothing was jumping out at me that said, "Go home with you, Rusty. I need to go home with you." It just didn't happen. So I spent a little time digging through the bins, and I think a little bit of the wind had been knocked out of my sails. I didn't anticipate that feeling when they didn't have those grails, but I did manage to find a few books. And here, we'll just go over the books real quick. And again, projects from the 2023 wish list. I continue to pick these up when I find them in super, super fine condition. Part of the Barry Windsor Smith Weapon X storyline. This is issue 74. And ended up picking up that and issue number 77. And I've got these issues, but small minor ticks from my PC. And whenever I go out and I find these for a few dollars, if it's not too expensive, I'll go ahead and pick these up. These were not overpriced. I think they had price tags of $8, $9 on these things. And maybe that's a little high priced in some of these issues, but I bought them because of the condition. The condition of both of these looked really good. And as it turned out at the very end, I actually had some credit at the store from the previous visit, so it didn't cost me a lot on this visit. In the end, I don't think I spent more than $20 altogether. So that was actually pretty good, considering how much money I was going to drop on any of those Grails. So pick these both up in hopes that we'll get them into the shop, clean and press. I am working on, when I talk about the 2023 wish list or the goals list, long-term project is to get a full run of Weapon X as a 9.8 run, not just have the issues. I've already had the issues. I had multiple copies of these issues, but to get 9.8s across the board, I've got a handful of them. I think I'm about 4 or 5 of them now, and I've got a couple of 9.4s and a couple of 9.6s. So just an ongoing project on that. But pick those up, and this right here, these are not expensive books. Actually, one of them was $1. But I picked these up, and Danger Girl #1. And I'll just put this side by side, and you've got Gen 13 #1. I think this was, I'm not sure which series this was. But why am I spotlighting these books? This is pretty common Image books. Nothing too much to write home about, except these are really classic J. Scott Campbell covers. They may not, to this point in time, they may not be as popular as, say, a lot of those Mary Jane or Black Cat covers that he does on Spider-Man over the years. But to me, when you say J. Scott Campbell, these are the issues that come to mind first for me a lot of times. And, well, he is doing a CGC signing, I think it's in September. So you've got some time to select books and get books in there and everything. And I think I've actually got both of these. I've met him at Baltimore Comic-Con many years ago, and I know I've gotten both of these signed. I'm pretty sure. I know I've got the Danger Girl signed. I'm not sure if I've got the Gen 13 signed, but regardless, these are books that I would not mind getting signed and having graded just for the PC. I don't think, it's not really an investment type book, but this is more like just a personal, what books would you want from certain artists to have graded? And for me, it would be books like this. So I went ahead and picked these up at Telegraph Art and Comics, and this was not a big haul or anything, but these were just good books for projects that I'm working on. So that's about it. Again, I was a little disappointed that the Grails were gone, but my pocketbook was very happy because we'll find those Grails later down the road. I don't know if I'll ever see them at those prices that they had listed, but you never know. Right now, the powder's still dry for some of the bigger cons coming up later in the year. All right, so actually, I've got a little surprise for you. I've got a few more books to go over. I've got a mailing that came in from eBay, but why would I throw it onto a spotlight on an LCS like this? Well, it kind of fits with the theme of what's going on. They're special project books, and I picked up some really nice books here. I haven't opened it yet. We'll open it right now, and we'll see. I'll show you what I picked up, and I'll tell you about the special project for later in the year. It's for a signing. I will give you that as a little bit of a tease. These are good books, and at least one of them I saw at the Baltimore Comic-Con this year, and by the publisher, I shouldn't say publisher, I said the comic book store that did their own variants, and I probably should have picked them up then, but at that point I didn't know who was going to be at the next Baltimore Comic-Con, and this artist wasn't there last year, so I didn't even think about these books. Like, I didn't really think about adding them at that time, but since then I've been picking up books from this artist in preparation to see what I want to get signed when I see him in this September. What books am I going to get signed? And it's got plenty of time, but I went ahead and picked these up. They were having a little bit of a sale on their website, so instead of their $24.99, they were down to like $21.99 or something like that, a few dollars off. But it was in a Gemini mailer, nice and bubble wrapped right here. Got lots of Scotch tape. I hate Scotch tape, but looks pretty secure. Normally, I would have broken all these out of the box for you. I usually don't like to spend a lot of time unwrapping because I'm sure this is really annoying on the video because the microphone is right here, so it's probably picking up that really awful. But let's, they tape the books together. I hate when they tape the books together because you got to be really careful not to try to pull them apart and all of a sudden you got spine ticks all over the place. That's an easy way to get spine ticks. I hate when you tape these comics together. When I send books out, what I'll do like this is I will put them all together and I will put them in usually in a magazine bag or maybe a silver or golden age bag, and I will tape that down instead of taping the books. That way you can open up the bag and then just take the books out. The books should not be damaged in this way. But here, let me show you what I picked up. And that's interesting. I thought am I missing a book? Oh, nope, I'm not missing a book. Okay, so it's the same artist on all of these, but these are really good. I'd only seen one of this before, but the other two covers, they kind of popped up when I was doing a search, and I'm like, oh, that's really nice. I think I might want to get that signed, and I might want to get that graded. Here, let me show you the one that got it started. And if I'm wrong on this, I think it's Unknown Comics. I might be wrong on that. Let me see if there's any packing slip here. Yep. I'm sorry. It was Ultimate Comics. It's the Ultimate Comics exclusive covers to, here's Black Cat number 9, and you guys recognize this? This is from Art Adams. And this was a homage to that, was it early 90s, late 80s border that they did back in the day. And if you got this beautiful Black Cat by Art Adams. And I'm going, wow, this really spectacular. I saw it last year at Baltimore Comic Con and I didn't pick it up. Mostly because it just wasn't in my view at that point. I didn't think I'd be seeing Art Adams anytime soon. And it just kind of walk by. But since then, it's like, okay, that's a really nice cover by him. But when I was looking at that, a couple other suggested books came up. And let me show you this. He did a homage to Hulk number 181. This is, I guess this is issue 4 here. But he did a homage to that. I'm going, that's a really spectacular. Just obviously, it's just fun stuff. I don't know if there's much of a market for this, but I will tell you this. I ended up getting a couple of that issue because the idea, I think this would be very popular with people. If somebody was interested in, hopefully we get 9/8 on this, I'm hoping. But I will have to double check the conditions on all of these to see what I really want to get signed. But let's go with the fact that I hope that all of these are 9/8 candidates to begin with. But then to get them signed, my thought process on this is definitely get one of them signed so I can keep and sell the other. Now, I don't know. I didn't see any of these being sold or any of these being listed on eBay. So I'm taking a little bit of chance only because I think this would be really popular to have out there. I mean, guys, you let me know. Would you want this copy as a 9.8 signed by Art Adams? I think this is pretty spectacular. As is this cover as well. He did a homage to X-Men 141. So I picked up 2 copies of that, 2 copies of that Hulk 181. And yeah, I didn't do it on the Black Cat. And it's one of those, that one I didn't know if I was going to do. I didn't know how popular it would be. So, and the order honestly was getting a little expensive. So I just picked up 2 copies of these 2 because I thought these would be more popular. I could be wrong on that. You guys can let me know in the comments section what you think of that. But this was the bonus books for today. And as I said, it's very similar to what I picked up at Telegraph Art and Comics, books for future signings down the road. This is Art Adams is going to be at a Baltimore Comic Con in September, just like the J. Scott Campbell is going to be at CGC in September. So I've got some time to decide if these are the books that I really want to get signed or not. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the whole video today. If you like today's video, definitely hit that like button. And I hope you guys will subscribe to the channel because I do content like this each and every week on Mondays and Fridays at 10 a.m. I hope you join me. Most of the time I try to be on there live so I can talk with you guys and comment on the books that I'm talking about that day. Sometimes I cannot be there, but In those cases, it's just the episode will just appear, it'll start without me. But in the other cases, I'm there sitting there live, and I do enjoy chatting with everybody who comes into the room. But thank you for watching today. Hope you will join me for the next episode. It'll be about comic books. Guess what? Comic books. And we will figure out what that's going to be about. I don't know yet, but I'm sure it'll be good, and I hope you guys will join me for the next episode. Till then, take care, and remember, every comic has a story.